Hi, today we'll be doing these fall leaves. This is good for 1st through 4th grade. Even kinder should be fine. You will need white paper, pencil, eraser, and oil pastels. Let's get started. Your first step is to separate these leaves with their stems. We're going to have one going this way and maybe one going this way. Do not do this too close together, okay? So kind of like we're doing a upside down V for now, but not close. Then you kind of want to make it a little wiggly, not too wiggly. Once you are happy with the placement of your stems, go ahead and do a parallel line. At the top, it should be thicker. The closer you get to the end, it should get thinner. It should get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier until it looks like it's just one line. So same thing for this one. I got a little big there. Okay. Now we're going to build our leaves around these stems. I kept it a pretty simple shape. Draw a light until you develop the shape that you want. I kind of do a sketching mode in the beginning to see kind of where I want to go. And this should be the center of your leaf. So if it's not center, you're going to have to fix it. And you fix the leaf as in. And if you need to make it longer, you can make it longer. Okay, I'm going to not draw it dark yet until I develop this one too, in case I need to change it. I'm going to make this one a little smaller than that one, the other one. Well, let's make it even smaller. Okay, I'm going to start erasing the lines I don't want and darkening the lines I do. Okay, so now the main shape of my leaf is there. See if that's visible. Okay, I'll make it a little darker so you can see it better. There. Okay, so now I'm going to add the veins in the leaf. So they should be going in the direction of your leaf. This is kind of going downward, so the veins cannot be going upward. They need to go in the same direction as the leaf is. And similar to the stems, it starts out thicker and it gets thinner towards the edge until it looks like just one line. So you kind of want to do one line and then get it skinnier, and then do a parallel line that gets skinnier as you go. So one line, and then start out thick, and then get skinnier. And do something similar on the other side. And what we're gonna kind of do color these leaves with is tones later. So it's not, I'll show you the picture again, it's not gonna just be one orange. If you notice, you'll have red, and then a little bit of orange in the middle, and then yellow highlights. Okay, so that those 3 tones, you could add more if you want to, but the more tones you put, the more realistic it's going to look. Now when you look at a leaf, you probably just see one color, and it probably is just one color, but you can practice by holding it under a light or away from a light, where whenever it's up against the light, it's going to have tones. There's parts that are going to look lighter and there's parts that are going to look darker. Now in this particular piece, we're using our imagination, not working from an actual leaf. But you can do that. You can get like a lamp and put your object next to the lamp and see how the colors change. You can turn that object, keep turning it, and see what parts get lighter and what part gets darker. You can even use your own arm underneath the light to notice how the top may seem to be lighter than the bottom, but when you turn it over, it's the same color. So these lights and darks are what make things look realistic. If everything was just one color, it would look very flat, very cartoony. All right, my drawing is done. Okay, I'm gonna get my colors ready. I'm gonna get my brown first. With my brown, I'm just gonna color in all the stems for now, the veins and the stems. You might want to use the edge of your pastel to get these thin lines. It is tricky. Okay, I'm going to pause while I finish doing this because this is pretty straightforward. Okay, in this particular piece, I'm actually going to start with my lightest color because it's much easier to color over the lightest color than it is to color light over the dark with oil pastels. So I'm going to do basically, here you can watch, the inside portion, so not the outsides. I'm going to do the insides of each section, right where it's touching the stem. And it's not a perfectly straight line. I'm kind of doing like a zigzaggy letter C on each side, one facing this way, one facing that way, but it's not perfect. And I am going right over that brown. You don't want it to be so harsh of a color, so you can go right over it. Pause this video whenever you need to so you can catch up. If you're looking for the harder version of this, it would be this piece, which I'll be doing next for the older students. Doing the exact same thing on the other leaf. Okay, so my yellow is more or less done. I'll come back to it if I need to. I'm gonna go next with the orange, just a regular bright orange. So this will be in the middle. You could technically go all the way to the edge because it won't matter. You're gonna go over it with red. So go ahead and fill the rest with orange. Now where the yellow and orange meet, keep that yellow in your hand. You kind of want to go over each other, or you can use your finger to blend. So I'm going to do that again here. Please watch carefully. So I'm going to put the orange in. Let's start with the end. And when they meet, when the orange and yellow meets, now pay attention because you'll have to do this with the red as well when we get to it next. Now this looks way too drastic. Compare these two to each other. This is a smooth transition. This is not a smooth transition. So what you could do is just go over where the end of the orange with the yellow and kind of create an orangey yellow. And that middle color will create the smooth transition. So just in case for some of you who still don't get it, let's do that again. So we'll start with the end. You fill it in. You go all the way up to that yellow. But you don't want to leave it like this. Okay, this looks way better than this. So now you're going to go over the end parts of that orange with the yellow. And it created that smooth transition. Okay, we're going to do this to every single area. This will take some time. I'll probably pause it after a couple more and you guys can catch up. Rewind, pause as you need to. So again, I'm going to go right over that edge. Create like an orange yellow. All right, at this point, I'm going to pause and just finish up the rest with the orange. Okay, so we're going to do the red next, but keep the orange in your hand because just like we blended with the orange and yellow, we're going to have to blend with the red and orange. I mean, it looks pretty good as it is, yes. We're not going to do as big of an area with the red as we did with the orange. The orange is definitely the biggest area. So it's kind of like an outline, but a staggered, like you'll see right now. So I'm not going to do a perfect outline. It should be kind of going inward. As I'm going down, I'm also going inward here and there. Down and in. It doesn't have to be in constantly, but here and there, okay? At least in every section, you should have a couple ins, if not more, if you need specifics. But, you know, that's just my opinion. I just like aesthetically, I think that looks better. I'm not going to leave it the way I'm putting it in right now. I'm just kind of doing the whole thing and then I'm going to blend it in. I think that's a little faster than constantly switching hands. Okay, so now that I have it, all that red in, we don't want to leave it like that. So now you're going to go over the edges of the red, the edges inside with the orange. Just soften that area where the two colors meet. You're kind of creating, you know, a new color. With this creation of the new color here and the new color here, you're basically using 5 colors. Because you have the yellow, you have the yellowy orange, you have the orange, you have the orangey red, and then you have red. So basically, with having 5 tones, it's going to look even more realistic. All right, that's first leaf. You can compare it to the second leaf and see how you like it. Do the same thing on this side. So I'm gonna do the outline that's kind of going inward and down at the same time. So if you didn't get it the first time, watch now. Down and in and down and in. Now, if you notice, I'm having spots because my hand has gotten dirty. You got to be careful of this. I mean, especially if you were going to leave the background white, you know, I'm not, so I'm not too worried. But let's say you were, then you got to keep your arm off the page. All right, so again, use your orange basically as your blending stump. I mean, there are these things called blending stumps, but you really, with a piece like this for oil pastel, I actually don't think you need blending stumps for oil pastels. It works really good for soft pastels, but for oil pastels, you can use oil pastels as your blending by just using a different color. Maybe it depends on what you're going for. Okay, so that's that. Now the background. Honestly, I just kind of did turquoise and mustard sand in this one. If there's a different one you want, I would keep it loose, light. If you're gonna fill it in, it's gonna take you forever and it's gonna hurt your hand. So I would pick two colors that kind of go with what you're doing, the theme, and kind of fill it in lightly, just to try something new. Since I have turquoise and must sand here, I wouldn't go with like purples. It just wouldn't go. I think I'll try green this time. Maybe just a dark green and a light green. We'll try that. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of lightly, very lightly, just kind of fill in that background. First with one color. Okay, that's the light green. I'm going to do the same thing with dark green. And I kind of like this light green, dark green better than the turquoise and sand. There we go. That's our piece. I hope you had fun. I hope yours turned out good. Enjoy your fall.